Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson at Infinity Whole Health. And tonight I want to give you a message of hope and love and truth. And tonight is about, should we be afraid to breathe air? And talking about the germ theory. When we look at, even before the germ theory, we had the spontaneous generationalists, those who thought that maggots just appeared on meat. And after decades and centuries of believing spontaneous generation, it was almost heresy to go against this belief that these things just appeared. And so Louis Pasteur started doing experiments with jars with rotten meat with coverings over them, and he would see maggots on the covering but not on the meat. And he noticed that flies would land on the covering, and he realized something was happening here. And so he disproved spontaneous generation. He's given that credit. And Cook, a contemporary, decided, hey, we need to have now some things that really regulate whether or not viruses, bacteria, germs, if you will, microorganisms, cause disease. And so he had these postulates. And one of them said, if you had a disease, if germs cause disease, then every time we see the disease in anyone, we are going to find this microorganism. And they very shortly found out when they had the microscope finally that that was not true, that this organism was not present every time. And then we're shown things like George Ritchie. Dr. George Ritchie goes to a town and he says, okay, I'm going to test everybody in this town for polio. And he finds out that all of them have had polio. They all have antibodies. But only 10% of them actually showed any kind of signs of sickness. And 3% of the population that were very sick already ended up getting bulbar form of it, and many of them passing away. And so they started realizing that the germ theory doesn't hold, because polio should cause polio, and it didn't. And we fought it and didn't even get sick, 90% of us, because 90% of us were healthy. And it's very much like we see the modern day flus run through a population. Only 10% kind of get sick. And of those, about 0.1% actually pass away. And so we realize that it isn't about something coming from the outside in. It's about what's coming from the inside out. And so that's the effect that we're more looking for. And so why is the germ theory so readily accepted still in our day and age, even though it's been disproven 50, 70 years ago? Because human nature is one to kind of not accept responsibility. It's easier to say that I got sick from something. It wasn't that I was eating fast food and drinking Diet Pop or eating lots of sugar. That didn't have anything to do with it. And so now I can blame it on something else. And I know that might ruffle some feathers, but I'm here to give you truth and let that sink in and think about it. Same thing goes for, let's imagine this. I'm a crack addict and my teeth are going bad, and I say, oh, it's just, it's dental caries. I just have poor teeth. But let me ask you this. How many people that have been crack addicts keep their teeth? It's like 0. So let's say that I'm a conscientious crack addict and I brush my teeth 10 times a day with the best toothpaste. Are you telling me that I'm going to keep my teeth? Not in the least. Nobody's going to take that bet. Why? Because brushing teeth is an outside in effect, and the crack cocaine is destroying me from the inside out. That's the difference. And so, those are some things that are problematic. Finally, it really reached its peak against the germ theory in 1989. And I'm going to read it to you because it's fascinating. Dr. Peter Duesberg, Department of Molecular Biology, University of California, Berkeley, California. A world-renowned microbiologist declared this: "We are at the end of a spectacular era in medicine, the era of the infectious diseases and of the microbe and virus hunters. The virus hunters of the 70s and 80s are technologically superior, but are clinical Don Quixotes, chasing the windmills of latent viruses with more sophisticated and expensive technology than ever before. It is now time to use our high biotechnology and theoretical capacity to solve the problems that come from within, including AIDS, aging, and heart disease, and to let the sleeping virus rest in eternal peace. Because they had known by basically 1990 that the germ theory was totally defunct. But more interesting than that, we have a Pasteur contemporary by the name of Antoine Beecham. And he was the most renowned and well-versed individual on the planet for microbiology. And he set up foolproof experiments to disprove the germ theory, which he did time and time again. And in fact, he makes the comment, these organisms cannot cause disease, but instead they help decompose dead tissue or are particularly decomposed materials themselves, which we actually think viruses are. Yet they never attack or destroy healthy living substances. Now, he said this way back in the 1800s. In 1973, the World Health Organization actually did experiments to try and grow on healthy living tissue viruses, bacteria, funguses, protozoa, amoebas. They could not do it because of this fact that germs don't cause disease. They are the cleanup crew. And so here we are breathing in every hour 50,000 microorganisms, virus, bacteria, funguses, and yet here we all are still present, not sick, because most of us are healthy, even though our diets aren't even that spectacular, but we still remain pretty healthy. Now, as our diet gets worse and worse and food gets worse and worse, we may see numbers of people dying because of disease processes going up for sure. But those that take care of themselves and are healthy typically don't succumb to those types of things. And so it all comes back to us and how amazingly powerful this body is. It is awesome. We have a brain that coordinates every function in the body. As we eat nutrient-dense foods, we supply the nutrients so those tissues can be healthy, like the brain continually tells them to be, organizing them. It is why I'm a chiropractor, to make sure the nerves can supply that communication successfully from the brain so that you enjoy good health. It is also why I do a fair amount of nutrition, because each cell requires good communication, or rather management, needs a manager, as well as the workers to do the job correctly, called health. That's effortless. We don't have to think about being healthy. We all do it. And so if you still believe that something covering you is going to protect you from another, I hope this kind of belayed that, and you realize that the protection's already built into you. It's not these other things. Lies produce fear, and fear begets anger, aggression, hatred, all the things we're seeing right now in society. But truth begets peace, love, certainty. You can stand on it every time because the truth is always true, and a lie will never be true, thankfully. And so I say that to you all with much love. And again, I'm Dr. Troy Munson at Infinity Whole Health. Can't wait to see you next time.